We must go away, but we must talk first. That is, I must speak, for until now you have done all the talking. You have told me about your life. Now I will tell about mine. You see, my mother was not of noble birth. She was brought up with ideas of equality, women's freedom, and all that. She had very decided opinions against matrimony, and when my father courted her, she declared that she would never be his wife, but she did so for all that. I came into the world against my mother's wishes, I discovered, and I was brought up like a child of nature, and taught everything that a boy must know as well. I was made to go about in boys' clothes and take care of the horses and harness and saddle and hunt and all such things. In fact, all over the estate, women's servants were taught to do men's work, with the result being that the property was ruined. At last my father revolted and ran things according to his ideas. My mother became ill. Then came the big fire, which of course you have heard about. The house, the stables, everything was burned. My father was utterly at a loss to know where to get money to rebuild with. My mother suggested that he try to borrow from a man who had been her friend in her youth. My father made the loan, but he wasn't allowed to pay any interest, which surprised him. Then the house was rebuilt. Do you know who burned the house? Huh? My mother. Do you know who the friend was? My mother's lover. Do you know whose money it was? Huh? My mother's. She had some money, but she had not wished to have in my father's keeping. All this came to my father's knowledge, but he couldn't do anything. That was my mother's revenge for his taking the reins. At the time, he was ready to shoot himself. Gossip had it that he tried and failed. I sympathized with my father, but I took my mother's part. Through her, I learned to distrust and hate men, and I swore to her never to be a man's slave. We must go away.